Hello everyone, it's Maria here from Pepperly Rose Paper Crafting. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Sydney, Australia. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to be making a project with the beautiful Happy Birthday to You stamp set. This is a free stamp set with Sale-A-Bration that's going on at the moment, and it goes on until, I think it's the 3rd or the 2nd of March. Anyway, one of those 2 dates, I will put up the correct date up here in captions when I edit this video. And this is a beautiful stamp set. It comes as a cling mount stamp. I've had a play with this already with a card that I've given to somebody for their birthday, and it is absolutely beautiful, so I'm really happy to show you the card that I'm making. Also, I'm featuring the birthday dies which are available now for you to purchase. These dies coordinate with this stamp set, and they're available from the 4th of February. So you have one that goes directly over that whole image, and you also have one that just cuts out the flowers. So it really helps with the fussy cutting. You don't have to fussy cut with these dies. These are wonderful, and I like that I don't have to fussy cut. Also, it comes with standalone dies. So it comes with a cool stand. It's got some leaves here and some other things too, which you can use to decorate your card. I'm going to start off with this card, and I need to get a couple more things before I begin, so bear with me and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've brought everything that I needed because I did forget a couple of items. So we'll get started on this project. So I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus, and I'm going to be using it to stamp the image. And the reason is generally speaking, I find that when it comes to stamping images like this, they are pretty large, that it really does help to have the Stamparatus or a similar stamping tool to help you to do this. So I'll stamp this over here. And I'll be using Memento ink to stamp that. So I'll just bring that out. I just really like using a stamping tool because I don't always get it right. Sometimes I also rock my block, and then I make smudges, things like that. So I find that using a stamping tool really does help, and you can use whichever one you have on hand. So I'll just give this a quick stamp. And I usually put a little bit more emphasis on the flowers because that's the more detailed image. And it came out a little light, so I'm going to stamp it again. I just want the image to be a little bit more crisp and darker. So I'll just stamp that again. And it was pretty light around here, so I'm going to emphasize there. And I think also it's because it's near the edge of the Stamparatus that this is happening. Now, please excuse the lighting today. We have a very gloomy, dark day in Sydney. I'm just going to go over that again. Do it again too. 3rd time lucky, I hope. Anyway, it's a dark, gloomy day here in Sydney. We have much needed rain, which is lovely to have, but it is quite humid and hot at the same time. So my apologies for the lighting, but it can't be helped. Okay. That is a lot better. So I'll just give you a close-up of that. So it looks much better. So I'll leave this to the side to dry, and I'm just going to clean my stamp, and then I'm going to put it away. And I will reuse the Stamparatus later. So I'll put that over here. Now, I've got a Whisper White thick card base, so I've scored it in half after I've cut it in half, an A4 sheet. So I will now burnish the score line. with my bone folder. And whilst I have my card base out, I'm going to do some colouring on the actual card base. So I'll make sure I really give that a good burnish. Okay, I'm going to bring in my craft mat. I love this thing for ink blending. I'm going to do some ink blending, but very simple. And I'm going to bring my card base over and some smoky slate ink. And I'm going to be using the Pattern Party Decorative Masks. These are in the annual catalogue. And I'll show you what's in that if you're not aware. So you've got a brick wall. You have some clouds. You have these diamond shapes, which are lovely. And you have this mandala, I think it's called, image. So today I'm going to be using the bricks. And so I'm going to put my stencil or mask over the top. Okay, and I'm going to grab a makeup brush and I'm just going to put it in the ink there, and I'm going to put this like this to the side. I'm going to tap off and just go from the bottom and up. So I'm holding it down with one hand. And it doesn't have to be overly precise, but enough to add some colour. I want it to be a little bit darker towards the bottom. And then I'll work my way up. Okay, and I like the way that has turned out, so I'm going to leave it at that. I want it just subtle, but there you go, you get your brick wall there. So I'll just give this all a clean. All right, so now I'm going to bring my image here, and I'm going to do some colouring with some watercolour pencils, which is my favourite way of colouring these days. And I use the Faber-Castell. I'm a full set girl, so when I buy watercolour pencils, I'd like to buy a full set that has a good range of colours. I know Stampin' Up sells watercolour pencils, but my gripe with it, if I can call it that, is the fact that it was coming out in drips and drabs. So you'd get 10 colours or 12 colours rather than the full set of colours. And if you wanted, yeah, I found it a little annoying, so I got the Faber-Castells. You can use whatever watercolour pencils you like. These are my choice of pencils, and I'm going to be using them to colour this. What I tend to do as well is I match the colours as closely as possible to Stampin' Up colours. So I'll be using equivalents, and that's what I'll be saying in my videos. Also, I don't have a conversion chart, I just go by eye. So that's really scientific for you, but that's how I do my colouring. So the colours I want to use today for this is we're going to use a colour that is very similar to Smoky Slate. So if you want to see it with the ink pad, I would say that's a pretty close colour. There's also a lighter one, but then it's a bit too light. But actually I will use the really light version of that. So that's a very close match. So I will use that to just colour in where the artist has drawn all these lines, which are like the lines to add shading. That's where I will add the colour. So I'll do that first. And I will lower you down. Whoops. So you can see it up close. So I'll just zoom you out again. All right, and I'll just put all of my pencils away because I won't need them anymore. I'm going to cut these out, so I'm just going to bring in my dies. And I'm going to use that one that uses the whole outline. So I will now position that over the entire image. And these dies you put right to the image, right round, and it will cut a border automatically, so you don't have to guess where the border will be. So make sure that your image is right on where it needs to be. So I'll put my painter's tape there just to secure it in place. Then I'm going to pop this on here and run that through my die cutting machine. So I'll take that off. And it cut a perfect image. No fussy cutting, which is what I love. Okay, so pop this away, and then we're going to bring our card base. I'm going to do a little bit more stamping, but not much. So let's put that there. So I'm going to pop that image there, and I'm going to use some dimensionals. Oh no, before I do that, pardon me, I'm going to grab my Stamparatus again, and I'm using some quilter's grid. This just helps me to line up the stamp properly, and what I'll be doing there is I'm just using that just to position my stamp, and I'm going to use the word celebrate, because it comes with happy birthday to you and celebrate. So I'm going to use the word celebrate because I like it. It can be used for any occasion really. And I can tell from the bottom of this stamp, there's a little tip for you. This stamp is done pretty straight. So I'm going to use this as a guide to ensure that it is straight on a grid. Now the grid I am using is a quilter's grid. You can find this in the haberdashery section, and what I did was I laminated it, and this helps me to align my stamps. So I use that as a guide. I take the grid off, and then I'm going to use my Memento ink, and I'm going to ink up the word celebrate, and then it looks pretty straight. I just find that the grid on the Stamparatus is quite faint, and I find it difficult, but upon looking at this grid now, you can't see it in the camera, but I can. This is quite straight, so that's good. So now I'm just going to stamp that right on, and that's pretty straight. So I'm really happy with that. So I'm just going to clean that off. And this is really good when you want to position things with your photopolymer stamps as well. Very handy. So I have this now with my Stamparatus and also with my other stamping tools, so that I get nice even coverage there. I mean, you know, precise coverage. So I'm just going to put my cake there. I'm going to grab some dimensionals. Geez, I'm lost for words today. I tend to do that quite a bit. I lack sleep. I lack good sleep because it's been so hot lately, and yeah, not good. I need sleep. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. All right, so I'm just going to put one dimensional there. Just going to press it in the middle, and this helps to release the backing paper of the dimensional. And this is a tip from one of my viewers, so it's an awesome tip. So I want to thank, forgot who it was, but I want to thank them for this tip, because ever since I read it, I've been using it ever since. So it's been great. And they're sticky. Very humid, as I said today, so things don't dry properly and things are sticky. Stickier than usual. Okay, it's quite humid. It's disgusting, actually. I think when I woke up this morning, they said it was 87% humidity, so it's pretty strong. I mean, it's pretty yuck. So I'm going to pop this here, right there. So that's how that turned out. So on the inside, what I will do is I will stamp just, this is what I will do. I will stamp the images there again. So I'll get my Stamparatus, just so I can decorate the inside. So I will pop this over here. I'll stamp that again in, this time I'll stamp it in Smoky Slate. So I'll stamp that in Smoky Slate. I think that blurred because I moved it, so I'm going to turn it over and I'll do it again. All right, just give that a good stamping. And I'll give it another stamp. This is why it's so handy to have a stamping tool such as the Stamparatus. All right, that will do me. It doesn't matter. So I will cut out also the flowers. So I'll take that off. That's all done now. And I'll put my foam pieces back in and I'm done. I'm going to then get my dies out again. And I'm going to use this die to cut out this away, because knowing me, I will lose it, so I like to put these things away. I think it's good habit to do that. So no fussing cutting required. And I can pop this wherever I see fit. So I quite like this to be up here. I think it's quite pretty up here. So I'll grab my glue. So just bear with me for 1 second. I'll cut this apart. Very minimal cutting, so that's what's so good. So you can cut these flowers apart if you wish. So I'm going to cut it here. Okay, and I'll clean it up a little bit, and I'll do this here. And like that. So now I've just cleaned it up a little bit, and therefore we can now say put one image down here. I can put one up here actually, it would look better up there. And one down there. And I think that looks really pretty. So I'll just grab my glue and we'll glue that down. And put it like that. And like this, put it like that. And I love the way that turned out. So that's my finished card for today, and I'll just give this another little burnish. Okay, nice and finished now. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact me in the contact section from my online store or on my blog. There is a section there that says contact me, and it will lead you directly to me. I hope you like this beautiful stamp set. It's a Sale-A-Bration set. It's available until March the 4th. I will have the correct dates for you. I think it's the 4th of March or the 2nd of March, one of the two. Yes, so it is available for free for every $90 you spend, and also we have these dies which are on sale from the 4th of February. So yeah, hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the card, and also please like, share and subscribe if you really like my tutorials, and share the joy around. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.